This is the Gamma Spec Station's Safety and Sample Handling tutorial at the University of Utah Nuclear Engineering Program. We have 3 Gamma Spec stations. Station 4 and 5 are in the Forensics Lab, and Station 8 is in the Counting Lab. We have 2 types of MCAs. At Station 8 we have the DSA 2000 with a power switch in the lower left-hand corner and visual indication of voltage in the center. At Stations 4 and 5 we have the Canberra Linux, which only has a high volt power supply indicator and the power is always on. Samples can be put into small vials which come in glass or plastic, or you can use a plastic bag. If using a plastic bag, please ensure that there's a double seal around the edge to make sure nothing leaks out. When handling samples, do not use your bare hands. The sodium on our skin will deposit on this sample and then be read by the Gamma Spec, throwing off your results. Instead, use blue nitrile gloves or tweezers when handling samples. Hot samples are samples that have been irradiated and have readings on the portable ion chamber that are noticeably greater than background. Try to minimize the amount of time they are outside of a shielded area. If you look inside the shielding of the detectors, you will see that the detector itself is covered. This is in case of a sample spill. The covers prevent any part of the sample from getting inside the detector itself, which would be very difficult to clean and lead to a large amount of downtime for the station. Please leave the covers on. To place the sample in for detection, simply place it on top of the detector. If you find that your sample seems to be creating a lot of dead time, use a spacer. Place the spacer on top of the detector, and then your sample on top of the spacer. If this does not solve the issue, you'll need to wait for your sample to decay away until it is measurable. At Station 8, you need to use the lever on the left to lift the lid before you can swing it open. Once the sample is placed, swing the lid shut and use the lever to lower the lid back into place. Bremsstrahlung radiation is a side effect from the heavy concentration of lead at the stations. The copper plates help to block this radiation, preventing it from affecting your sample readings. Please leave the copper next to the detector in place. There is one additional plate that you can use as a cover. Radiation safety is always a concern when in the lab, but don't forget about personal safety. Station 8 has a very heavy lid that can create a painful pinch point. The copper plate at Station 4 has some sharp edges which can cut through the blue gloves and you. Always be cautious when working in the lab environment. This concludes this tutorial. Thank you from the staff at UNEP.